Now hold to the ground, you flat-eared, hay-headed, lead-brained nothing. This here is gold. And that's pure smiles. You know, General Grant, what I've been thinking? I've been thinking that one of these days I'm going to turn you over to the mule skinner and I'm going to tell him to skin you. I'll be right with you, little girl. I just got to lock the door. Jumping jumper comes jumping, why, you'll have a change of mind. Come along, little gal. We got a long ways to go. And you, pick up your feet, you flop-eared, hay-headed, lame-brained nothing. Hey, Lily girl, would you like to hear a song?
Seem to understand, Culhane. We couldn't take the case. Our reputation was at stake.
Did you have to mention the word stake?
Put that fine line to rest, Culhane. With my unique and particular talent, somebody will always seek us out.
Untie him.
Of course, my father.
and with 2 white men in our camp. I shall tell my men to hide all things of value beneath the blades of their knives.
When you are chief, your tongue do telling. Welcome, Dundee.
Welcome? Pouncing around like ruddy leopards, my colleague unconscious back on the road?
I told him to bring you here. I did not say how.
Obviously. And I'm on my way to San Francisco, Kinpwash, to a very important case, if the stars are correct. And I've no time for tribal tribulations, abduction, or any other impulsive malfeasance. Am I clear?
You gladden my heart, Dundee. It has been too long, treaty signing Fort McDowell. Your words were wise for the Indian.
Thank you very much, Chief. Now, will you please tell me what you want?
Lawyer.
A lawyer. You want a lawyer?
For him.
What? Water. Water.
Who is he? What in the name of the Lord has he done?
Murdered. Stole Indian gold from our land.
I didn't mean nothing. I just set a trap for claim jumpers.
What's your name?
Milo Silas Hawkins.
John Drummond Dundee.
How do you do?
Better than you.
I must say, could I have me hat?
Chief, it's inhuman to stake a man out in the sun like this. Cut him down.
He remains staked till trial.
Trial?
He will stand trial here, Dundee. Here.
But you can't try him here. He's a white man. Sovereign to a white man's court and the jurisprudence therefrom.
The wings of the birds light the air, as your words light the mine, Dundee. That is why I sent for you to stand trial here, like white man's court.
I shall have nothing to do with it. I shall have everything to do with it.
My village is small, Dundee, living on little land and food. Hard. White man took what was ours, now he has killed another of our braves. My people want to make war on white man. I cannot stop them. I will not rule much longer.
You, Chief? Survivor of 5 wars, the U.S. cavalry, and other forms of pestilence?
You saw my son?
It was rather difficult to miss him.
He has the ear of my people. I tell them we must live with the white man. Kaweah say we must fight him or we all die. I hate the white man, Dundee. But we must live with him. You will show my people respect for white man and white man's laws. I want that man killed by your law.
But you can't just have the man killed. He must be proved guilty.
You prove.
The man must be given a chance.
Man is nothing.
The man is everything. That's the very basis of the law.
White court will not punish white man for killing Indian.
I don't agree at all, Chief. If I were prosecuting, he'd certainly get his just deserts.
Well, all right, Dundee. Accident. I am losing control of my people. Kaweah's answers easier for them. Promises old glories in new wars against your people. We would lose. Many people would die. We must have peace. You will help me, Dundee. Trial will be here.
Mr. Dundee!
Who is he?
My colleague. I don't think he quite comprehends the situation.
Culhane.
My partner. In law.
Ah, two lawyers. Good. White man's court.
All right, Chief. I will defend and my colleague will prosecute. Prove guilty.
No, he defend. You prove guilty.
I got me 12 mad Indians on a jury. And one honest Injun, a Judge Kinpwash, has already made up his mind. And witnesses with tomahawks and rifles.
Well, that's very interesting. But you haven't even mentioned your biggest obstacle.
What's that?
In my opinion, you're facing the greatest lawyer still breathing the free air of this invigorating country. Me. Add that to everything else, and I'd say you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. What do you think's going to happen to you once they find out that you prosecuted that old miner, huh? You'll be disbarred, arrested, and jailed.
Nothing will happen to me at all. I shall merely act as my own attorney and be completely acquitted.
Can't you be serious? We've got two chances. Little and none at all.
I should be serious. There's a great deal at stake here, Culhane. We're on the verge of a bloody Indian war. But by the process of law, we can prove the truth will out.
Truth? You know the old man's being railroaded. You know that.
Yes, I know something else, too. When you're dealing with Indians, things are not quite what they appear to be.
Mr. Dundee, can't you please tell me how we're going to handle this thing?
In a court of law, Culhane. In a court of law. You know, a court of law is rather like a steam engine, which when squeezed a little from your direction and squeezed a little from my direction, the truth pops out of the top. You know, before this trial is over, I'll prove to you that Hawkins is guilty.
Suppose I prove to you he's not.
The probability of that is so slight that I'll break legal ethics and make a small wager with you. A bottle of champagne?
You got a bet. How about a case of this stuff?
A case for a case, my friend.
Beautiful, this Indian land. Isn't it, Mr. Dundee?
Yes, very beautiful.
Rivers, trees, the sun is a brother. The white man should be happy with the land they have taken from the Indian. But I look around and see you are here, Mr. Dundee. walking down the path of the Indian. Is the path hard, Mr. Dundee?
I've never been very good at tight squeezes.
But that is strange. The white man lives for tight squeezes. For all but himself. How long will it be before we are squeezed from this land, Mr. Dundee?
This land is yours forever by treaty.
A treaty my father signed.
He is a good chief.
He is a frightened old man.
Being frightened can be a sign of wisdom, depending on the circumstances.
At missionary school, I learned that Christians should never be frightened. For even if they die, they go to a greater reward. Even your Christ was not frightened when they killed him. Are you a Christian, Mr. Dundee? You speak well, but so does the coyote. And the coyote is seldom honest. Did you know I was a Christian, Mr. Dundee? I am not a Christian now, because I never met a white man who was. You speak of honesty and Christ and wave the air with one hand, while all the while you steal with the other.
Culhane! You lost your senses, disrupting a profound philosophical discussion. I must apologize for my young friend. He, too, is young and impulsive.
Mr. Dundee, that makes twice today I saved your bacon and got the fat poured on me.
We're close to the edge of disaster, Culhane. I suggest you get to work on your brief, and don't make it too brief a brief. But don't stand there staring. Come out of the water, you'll catch cold.
Waste of time.
If you want a white man's trial, I'm gonna need these law books. Look, Chief, Dundee's got this stuff all pressed up in his brain, but I need help.
Waste of time.
All right. No books, no defense, no trial. That's all the soup in the basket.
I send one of my men. You begin to sound like Dundee.
The idea is to sound better.
I've been followed by a lot of claim-jumping wolves, and I figured if one of them managed to find me claim, well, the dynamite would seal the cave, and then he couldn't steal it. But I wouldn't kill no Indian. I swear I wouldn't. They're God's own. Living here, they're part of the land. Sometimes when I'm alone at night with only Lily Girl and General Grant, I look up at the sky and it's winking at me, and I feel like I'm part of it myself. But I'm not really. Nobody is except the Indian. You believe I didn't want to kill nobody, don't you, Mr. Culhane?
Well, I believe you. And maybe Dundee will believe you, but I'm not so sure that 12 of God's own Indians will believe you.
Have you any idea, Chief, how this useless metal has fouled the hearts of men? Gold. I admire it.
Why we come to mine?
We must examine everything to do with the crime. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility.
How far back does the vein go?
Well, it's hard to tell till you hit the bedrock, I guess.
Where'd you set the trap?
I set the trap right here. 2 sticks of dynamite. Then I put in a blasting cap.
One stick could have done the job.
Well, I'm not too familiar with dynamite. I haven't done too much hard rock mining.
Well, it'd make a very nice paperweight.
You have it. Now, you paid for services, Dundee.
For services actually rendered. Oh, it's a bit more than I should expect, Chief, but thank you.
This waste of time, Dundee.
Yes, as you recall, I said at the Fort Dowell Treaty, justice results in leaving no stone unturned.
Plenty stones unturned in that treaty. Justice frail like smoke, Dundee. If we not move quickly, vanish before eyes.
What you're saying in your own colorful vernacular, Chief, is we'd better get this trial humping before our heads are blown off.
Trial begin tomorrow.
Hoping the stomach will not mind what the mind will not stomach. I think we'll put the jury over here where they can get a good view of everything, and I think the prosecution under the tree in the shade,
Who was that? What happened?
You all right, Culhane?
Jury like corn in field, straight. Chief, top of mesa. Here, you.
Gentlemen, a little more in the shade, eh? Son. Legal employment of explosives. Planning to start a war, Culhane?
Just finished one, thank you.
Think you're up to it?
I'm standing. That means I'm up to it.
All right. Now take it easy.
Have big chair from Dragoon Wells massacre.
One massacre to another, so to speak. Well, Chief, shall we begin?
Dundee. How?
How?
How I begin.
Oh. Well, first you call the court to session, and then I act as clerk and read the charges. After that, you will impanel the jury.
Impanel?
Pick. Pick 12 good men and true who will decide whether Hawkins is guilty or innocent.
Guilty!
Yes. Yes. Yes, well, why don't we just try it and see what happens, The Indian White Lawful Circuit Court is now in session. All present, come to order.
Order! Atiam, Hokan, Damoho, Kosos.
Your Honor, you must call them one at a time.
Yuki, Maidas, Modak, Kwapo.
Your Honor, you must call the jurors one at a time, so the defense counsel and I can question them to see if they are acceptable or not.
I know them since they are babies.
But they're Kauia's men. Not acceptable to the defense.
Acceptable!
Acceptable. The prisoner, Milo Silas Hawkins, is charged with trespass on private land without consent, theft of property belonging to the Indians, and the murder of Mostak, a member of the aforementioned tribe. How does the prisoner plead?
My client pleads not guilty.
Guilty!
The prosecution will prove that this man, Milo Silas Hawkins, knew full well that he was trespassing on your land to steal your gold. We will also attempt to prove that Milo Silas Hawkins set a trap which contributed to the death of one of your tribesmen. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Culhane?
Why is he saying all those things about me? They ain't true.
Part of the game, Milo, and he plays all the parts. Gentlemen, my client has never knowingly harmed anyone in his life. He didn't know that this land belonged to you Indians. For 30 years, he's been a prospector, going where he wanted to and digging where he wanted to on a land that was free.
Land not free. Belonged to my people.
I didn't know that. How was I supposed to know that?
You see, Milo set his trap for claim jumpers. And when Mostak walked into the mine, he set off the dynamite accidentally. And that's what I'm going to prove. It was an accident.
I am Waimea. Mustak was my man.
He was a good man and a good father, was he not?
I object. What does that have to do with whether or not it was an accident?
Objection!
Overruled.
Overruled.
You can answer the question, Waimea. Your husband was a good man and a good father. Please tell us about him.
My man Mustak was good and brave. He could run fast. He could hunt and bring back meat. When it rained, he fixed the teepee and kept it warm and dry. And when it was spring in the high meadow, he bathed in the stream and dried in the sun. His hand on my face turned my heart like a hawk in the sky.
Thank you, Waimea. No more questions.
Mustak was dead. Cave full of rock. Smoke.
Continue, Tanoka. Now please go on and tell us what happened.
That is all.
Now, Kanoko, Chakona, Kontik. Tanoka, how long would you say that it took you to reach the mouth of the cave after the explosion?
Short time.
Short time. So, it's safe to say that you were the first person there. Hmm? Now, this smoking rock, did you notice any particular smell?
Dynamite smell.
Thank you, Mr. Tanoka. Your witness, Mr. Culhane.
Tanoka, you say there was this dynamite smell. Would you describe it to the jury? Have you ever smelled dynamite before?
No.
Have you ever seen dynamite before?
No.
Gentlemen, the testimony of this man must be regarded as false and untrue. It just stands to reason that any man who never saw or smelled dynamite before...
I am not liar!
Objection!
I am not liar.
Tanoka, it is my job to convince the jury that you are telling the truth, and it is Mr. Culhane's job to convince them that you are telling a... Well, let's just say that you might possibly see it a little differently, hey? Now, when you arrived at the cave, you found the body of your friend, right?
Yes.
And he was dead. buried under a pile of rock.
Yes.
There is no doubt, then, that he was dead and that the explosion killed him.
Yes.
And Milo Silas Hawkins set that trap.
It's true. He killed Mostock.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Talk till I'm blue as a bone, and it still ends up the same way, that Milo set the trap that killed Mostek.
Now, if you don't mind me saying so, Culhane, I think you're flogging a dead horse. Why don't you try another tack?
Maybe I could prove that Milo was celebrating the 4th of July.
Sarcasm is my department. Get away from the murder. There are other issues at stake, you know, and theft and trespass. I suggest you have a look at property statutes.
No, it's too late for that now.
Never too late, my boy. As a learned attorney once said, the scales of justice weigh heavily, but rarely do they tip.
Who said that?
I did.
When?
Just now. Ah, Culhane. Will we ever see San Francisco again?
Mr. Dundee, you're an expert on mining law, isn't that right?
Among other things.
And you're familiar with miners' law, rock ditch, and mining district. I quote, "Any miner can trespass on private property to prospect for precious metal."
Correct.
Can you tell us the reason behind that law, Mr. Dundee?
Yes, the government feels that it's better to get the wealth out of the ground than to respect property rights.
Then Mr. Hawkins trespassed legally when he mined on Indian land, didn't he?
One might say so.
Then let's say so. Let's say that a buffalo strayed off this reservation onto what is now white man's land. Can't the Indian go after that buffalo and kill it and drag it back onto the reservation? Possession is 9/10 of the law, Mr. Dundee. And once that buffalo crosses the property line, it belongs to the landowner. Isn't that right?
Is that a question or an answer, Mr. Culhane?
It's a question.
Well, then I'll answer it. There are no buffalo on this territory, 9/10 or otherwise.
It's terrible being dirty all the time, grubbing in the dirt like a mole and hungry most of the time. So something says to me, Milo, go south and you'll find your bonanza. Well, I tried every other way, so I went. And by golly, there it was right in front of me. After half a lifetime, me, crazy old Milo Hawkins, was rich. I didn't know anybody owned it. So I just started working the claim and taking out the gold. I never had no family. I always wanted a wife and kids, but I guess the gold fever in me was too high for that. But I never meant for no Indians to be killed. Indians have always been good to me. One time I almost died, frying out there in the hot summer sun. Birds wheeling over me head. Out of water, crawling and trying but dying. Then there was this Indian. Lord bless his soul. Right there, like he come out of the ground. He gave me water and he took me to shade. And then he was gone. And all that time, not one word. That man, he was a friend. I'm sorry, lady. I'm really sorry. I had 2 sticks of dynamite like this here.
This is a blasting cap. It's open on one end where the fuse goes. But the cap can also be set off by percussion. Could you show me how you rigged that trap, Mr. Hawkins?
Well, I put the blasting cap in the dynamite like this. Then I put it down, and I had a balanced rock.
May I take that, please?
Culhane, I hope you know what you're doing.
I always know what I'm doing, Mr. Dundee. Most of the time.
Let us pray.
The idea is simple. The rock, striking the cap, should trigger off the explosion. Let's see if this kind of trap will work.
Nothing rash, Culhane.
No rash, Mr. Dundee. Just something to blow your case apart. The trap that Milo Hawkins set didn't work. You see, this is dynamite. Mushy, pliable dynamite. You can squash it in your hands. The trigger didn't blow because the rock, striking the cap, drove it down into the stuff, and it cushioned the shock. Do you follow me, Mr. Dundee?
Indeed, Mr. Culhane.
Milo couldn't have killed Mostak because the trap he set was a dud. A complete dud. Do you still follow me, Mr. Dundee? Mr. Dundee?
Whoa! You wait here, my dear. And don't talk to any strange men.
Everything he wants, he takes. The white man has hurt us. This is our land.
I agree, Kawir, but in the Barber Treaties...
Treaties you made.
Your father and I fought hard for the rights of the Indian.
The Indians respected the treaties. The white man did not. Your people steal from us. Everything. The gold, the deer. They steal our babies and sell them as slaves. In the village of the Hoopa, the Indian mothers smother their babies to keep them from the white man. The Indian cannot live with the white man.
Time will right the wrongs suffered by your people, Kawir.
We do not care for time. The pain is now. We once were strong. Strong as the mountains that reach to the sky. We once were free. Free as the eagle that climbs on the wind. This was our land. Now we are weak. Now we are chained. The white man owns us and our land. Give us back our land. Return our souls. Return our searching souls.
Doesn't make sense. Like scrambling eggs in a hat. What good would it do if all the Indians got together?
We would drive out the white man.
How? With bow and arrow? Do you think you could kill all the white men in America with tomahawks and arrows?
With rifles.
And where would you get that many rifles? Do you think the white men would sell them to you?
Tell him, Kawir. Tell him, Indians never lie. Tell him about the rifles in the gold mine. Tell him how you got them. Tell him white men do sell rifles to the Indians. Certain white men, that is. Like Milo Silas Hawkins. Now, the gold mine was known to only two people. Hawkins, who discovered it, and Coué, who used it. Hawkins brought gold out, took rifles in. A fair exchange, each satisfying the treasonous and unlawful appetites of the other. When Mostock stumbled upon the mine, he had to be killed. My clever and skillful opponent, Mr. Culhane, has already proven to us that the trap could not have been triggered off the way it was set up. Something else exploded it. Coué was nearby. He saw Mostock enter the cave, fired a shot at him, missed. The bullet hit the dynamite, exploding it. Milo Silas Hawkins is not guilty of the murder. You are.
You! Stay!
It does not matter that I kill Mostock. One man dies so that many may live.
World began when I was born. Is what each father among us tell his son. We tell him, take this to his heart. It is saying, be true to that heart. Heart never die. It is the soul. You ask for return of our souls, my son, yet you keep them away. Use white man's trick. Use guns. Kill brother. You are not true to your heart.
You are old, my father. You are a man who dreams in the daytime.
I didn't do nothing. I swear I didn't do nothing.
He said he'd kill me.
If I didn't bring him the guns, he said he'd kill me.
Come here.
Always grubbing in the dirt like a mole.
My lance, but your heart.
Ah, clean.
Clean. Smell good, too. Hope you saved some money.
How's that?
You owe me a case of champagne.
How do you figure that?
I proved Hawkins guilty.
Yes, but not of murder.
Oh, wait a minute. We didn't specify the crime. I don't remember.
Okay, you can take it out of my half of the fee.
Fee? What fee?
Well, this paperweight that you took out of the mine, it's worth 200. It's worth a southern dime.
Culhane, you're learning fast.
You know, I really feel bad about old Kinquash's son having to be stuffed in jail like that.
Jail? Who said anything about jail? Now, clear your mind of any preconceived notions, my boy, and let the light of reason shine in. I'm defending. Besides, what Indian jury would convict a poor Indian boy who's hardly had a chance to face life, who was deceived by a prospector, so crazed with greed that he set traps to kill his innocent victims.
The scales of justice sure weigh heavy.
Who said that?
I just did.
But really, do they tip? Nuts? Come on, get up.
Would have been a shame and a waste if they'd have killed her. She was prettier than a pair of pink shoes. Yes, sir. Still in all, she was a murderer.
She was not a murderess.